Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas here with you this morning, visiting with our longtime friend, Lisa Troyer, who is founder of Circle of Friends Ministries. And also, just really fun to talk to you about all things Lisa Troyer today. Interested that you have become, and it's early to talk about Christmas, but you and Don Yoder have become known as the Christmas duo. And already Christmas starts now, and Christmas in your life is all year long. Is that right?
Absolutely. Good morning, Susie and everyone. And I'm so delighted to be here this morning. And yes, I mean, why wouldn't you want love and joy and peace all year long? So that's why we write Christmas songs. My Charlie Brown Christmas tree is still up, even though the big one has been put away.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like Lucy and Peanuts, the Christmas Queen.
Yes,
in the Christmas play.
You are the Christmas Queens.
Yes.
Well, now how did this come about? Because you were writing music together. You wrote all kinds of really fun, almost folk 70s type sound, and is pretty groovy, as you would say.
Yes.
But somehow you've kind of developed this niche of Christmas music. How did that happen?
Well, like you said, we were writing what we call redeemed retro stuff, kind of that, Joni Mitchell and Dusty Springfield.
I like that, redeemed retro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you listen to Christmas music, it does have a lot of those elements to them. I mean, if it's a classic, you can tell the decade that it was recorded in, but the genre is one that, if it's classic, it's classic. Well, we wanted to develop a sound that had the essence of classic music. But then, Dawn, she loves Christmas. I mean, she's the one that she will listen to Christmas music way, way earlier than anybody else that I've ever met. And then from a marketing perspective, it's kind of like, well, okay, Christmas in July.
Uh-huh.
Okay, what can we do with this? And we just started writing. I mean, I remember sitting on my couch when I started writing the song, It's Christmas Time. And it was not snowing out. But, I mean, I love Christmas. My birthday's in December.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my favorite time of the year.
So it became kind of like your thing that you focused on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you write together? Is one of you the focus on lyrics and one focus on tune, or how does that work?
Dawn is a wonderful editor, and I think in pictures. And so she'll play a melody, and the movie in my head, I'll start telling her what I'm kind of seeing in my mind. And then we'll build a lyric based on the movie in my head. I know it sounds kind of bizarre, but that's kind of how it works. It tells
a story, though.
Yeah, yeah, melody makes me think of certain scenarios, and so we just kind of go based on that. And then she brings it lyrically into a concise story. But I'll sit there and I'll say, okay, well, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling. And then we start writing a lyric from that, usually based on a melody that she sends me.
Is this the kind of music that other people can sing, or is this pretty localized to your voices and the way you blend?
What we're finding out is people are telling us that they're singing along with the CD in the car. So that tells us that we're finding that note, no pun intended, that will resonate with folks. And so, our prayer is that as we continue to write Christmas music, that we will be able to compose that Christmas classic that we've been told by the publisher that we work with in New York that has offices there and in LA. They're putting one in Nashville. They have one in London, Amsterdam, and Berlin, Germany, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That Christmas music is ready for that next All I Want for Christmas Is You or Last Christmas, in the pop genre. I mean, there's a lot of good faith-based Christmas songs that are being written all the time. But there needs to be a new classic that goes to pop radio. And of course, because we know what Christmas is really all about, and that
Yes.
Jesus is the reason for the season, we feel like it's an evangelistic platform for us to be able to talk about our faith. You know, whether we're writing a pop Christmas song or, you know, a faith-based one. I mean, for what we do, it's all faith-based because we're doing it by faith because we feel like God's called us into that genre.
I wondered if this was a plan. It's obviously God's plan, but if you had strategized the time of year where every single radio station is playing the message of Jesus coming to the earth as a baby, and everyone is playing Mary Did You Know? Everyone is playing, you know, some of these songs that truly tell the true meaning of Christmas, and you hear it across the board. What an ideal way to be able to reach the unreached.
Well, you know, a lot of what Dawn and I do when we work together, whether we're training in values like global priority values and facilitating roundtables, or doing music, or, you know, just running our companies, you know, there has to be a strategy, and we have to be able to, I guess, evaluate and measure what the capacity is for success. And that might sound very calculated, but, you know, when we look at, you know, being moms and wives and, you know, CEOs and songwriters and all these really, it sounds kind of stupid to think that you can do these things, that you can do these things and do them well, but there has to be a strategy based on our capacity. Well, we love God, and Jesus is a very exciting subject, and Christmas time, it avails us the opportunity to write and to develop a high level of capacity musically. And it's something that you can do on an international level because Christmas comes every year. And so, like I said, our prayer is that we can write a song that will have influence and impact year after year after year because, you know, Christmas happens every year. I hope that makes sense. I mean, it's really kind of hard to just put that all in a really concise sentence, but it's like we want to write a song that people are going to be singing for years to come around the world, focused on the subject of Christmas.
Let's get to the around the world part. You mentioned Germany. You're very big in Germany.
I don't know that I'm very big in Germany.
Let's
Dawn
talk
and I
about
kind of
that.
chuckle about that, but we've been favored there on national radio. I mean, we actually, in combination with different stations in Nuremberg and Berlin, Frankfurt, Munich, Stuttgart, 7 of our songs were playing in Germany.
That's incredible.
It from a music business background that I have, if somebody would said, I have 7 songs that are playing I'd be like, yeah, right. I mean, it sounds like an exaggeration, but I don't know.
But
Maybe
it was. It's the truth.
And 7. Wow. Thanks, Lord.
Perfect number.
Yeah.
How perfect. You know, just getting back on, you're talking about running companies, the global priority, which I want to talk about in a minute, and being songwriters and all the other irons that you have in the fire that we're not even talking about right now. How in the world do you juggle all of this, Lisa?
A lot of it's seasonal. That's why, you know, doing Christmas music, the demand for appearances, if I can focus those around a certain time period, they're manageable. I mean, musicians and songwriters, I mean, you're writing all the time. I mean, you get ideas all the time. And that's one thing that Dawn and I have been able to, we've been able to designate the hours per week that we need to, we feel, be effectual for the music publisher that we signed with.
And you do this together? You sit down together? You're not working separately or when the Spirit moves you?
Well, yes and yes.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, I mean, I can be driving down the road and I'll get an idea for a lyric. And if there's a line or something that keeps running in my mind, you know, you jot those things down, you collect. It's like journaling. And then we both bring our journals together, whether they're melodic journals or lyrical journals, and then we sit down together and we do the editing process and we communicate. And it's like we get a lot of ideas just during that time period that we designate, having a cup of coffee, talking through our day, and it's like, oh, that sounds like a line. And, and we know how each other thinks.
And they're recorded so professionally. Where do you go? How do you put them all together? Because the sound is so top quality, top drawer.
We have the wonderful privilege of working with our producer, Tom Michael, and the production publishing entity in Nashville that we work with is called Zod Lounge. And the thing that's funny, I know it's kind of an unusual name, but people are like, Zod Lounge. And when we were in Germany, it was kind of like, the Zod Lounge, the way the Germans speak. And it's like they're intrigued by that name. So that's even a branding, and it's like, and it's kind of that retro thing, and it's lava lamps, and it's, but Tom and the other guys that play on the record, Brett and Todd Shea, they actually were part of Sonic Flood.
Oh, my, okay.
Yeah, so, and they've done a lot of studio work for Michael Omardian.
Oh, my
so,
goodness.
I mean, it's
okay,
like
going back to the roots.
You've got that kind of influence, just bringing all that professionalism and talent together. And it's like, who would you rather have playing bass on your record that's somebody that's been personally mentored by Michael Omardian? It's like, yes, thank you, Lord.
How did you get connected with these folks?
Okay. When I was doing my album, Meet Me at the Well, based on Varel Kidder's book. Friend of a friend introduced us to Todd Shea and Tom Michael and Brett Vargason, who they are the Zod Lounge, musician creative team. And when I recut People Need the Lord, and then when I wrote the idea for the song Beautiful.
Love it.
And Tom Michael co-wrote on that with Dawn and I. So, yeah, that's how that happened.
We've got about a minute and a half before we need to take a break. Your focus in getting started has always been women's ministries. You've had such a heart for women. Do you see that growing or changing or taking a different shape? What do you see?
Well, again, the ministry opportunities that I had in Germany this last December, actually we were sewing Christmas music and Chanel perfume and chocolate by gifting to women that really are disenfranchised emotionally and spiritually as they work in the red light district in Berlin. And through an organization that in English it would be translated New Start Cafe, where there are social workers and attorneys volunteering their time in this Christian organization to reach out to these women to try to take them out of that legal prostitution industry into a mainstream occupation. It's still women's ministry.
That's a remarkable women's ministry. I'm sure not one that you had in mind when you got started with this. So a little scary? How was that?
Yeah, kind of, sort of, a lot. But, God has called us from Berlin, Ohio to Berlin, Germany, and this December the clarity that he gave through that connection with that ministry there in Berlin, it makes so much more sense than it did when he first called me to Germany back in 2012. So.
Only God.
Only God,
wow,
indeed.
It is amazing. It is a very cool story. All right, we'll be back. We've got these words from Home Appliance and Downtown Ford. You're listening to Our Community.